the monsoon arrived with unprecedented fury that year. Working as a wildlife conservationist in northern Thailand's Golden Triangle, I'd spent nearly a decade there, yet nothing prepared me for those flash floods that transformed normally placid river systems into raging torrents one June morning. My name is Raji Sukhdev. Though my parents immigrated to America before my birth, I returned to Southeast Asia after my biology degree, drawn by both ancestral connection and a lifelong passion for elephant conservation. The past 8 years with the Asian Elephant Foundation had been challenging but fulfilling, allowing me to work directly with these magnificent creatures while helping local communities develop sustainable practices that reduce human-elephant conflict. That particular morning began with urgent radio calls from a field station near the Myanmar border. The overnight deluge had caused massive flooding in low-lying areas where a small elephant herd had been seen the previous evening. Given elephants' surprising vulnerability to drowning, calves especially, our team mobilized immediately. I grabbed my emergency kit and headed out with 2 colleagues, Somchai and Lisa, in our foundation's rugged 4x4. The normally hour-long journey stretched to nearly 3 as we navigated washed-out roads and rising waters. We finally reached the location, a valley between 2 forested hills transformed into a muddy lake. The situation was worse than anticipated. A family group of 6 elephants stood clustered on a shrinking island of high ground, their postures communicating obvious distress. Through binoculars, I saw they were all female, likely a matriarch with daughters and granddaughters of various ages. Most concerning was what I didn't see. According to yesterday's field report, the group included a calf about 4 months old. The baby must be somewhere in the flood zone, I told my colleagues, scanning the turbulent waters. We need to find it quickly. We split up to search different sections, maintaining radio contact. 20 minutes in, Somkai's voice crackled through my handheld. Northeast quadrant, near the fallen kapok tree. I can hear it calling. I rushed toward the coordinates, wading through increasingly deep water. The terrain beneath was treacherous, a mixture of mud and debris that could trap a foot with each step. As I approached, the distress calls became audible, the unmistakable high-pitched trumpeting of a frightened elephant calf. The sound led me to a heartbreaking scene. The baby elephant was trapped in a mud pit, only its head and the top of its back visible above murky water. It struggled weakly, clearly exhausted from what must have been hours fighting to keep its trunk above water to breathe. The adult elephants, who would normally work together to rescue a calf in trouble, were cut off by a deep channel of fast-moving water. They paced anxiously on their island, the matriarch occasionally reaching her trunk across the water in a futile attempt to reach the baby, her distress evident in her vocalizations. We need to act now, I radioed my team. The calf won't last much longer. Standard procedure for such rescues involves specialized equipment, inflatable platforms, harnesses designed for elephant anatomy, sometimes even small boats. We had none of these, and waiting for additional resources would almost certainly mean losing the calf. I made a rapid assessment. The mud pit was about 30 yards from where the adults were stranded, close enough that they could observe any rescue attempt, which presented its own dangers. An adult elephant perceiving a threat to its calf can be deadly, even when humans are trying to help. I'm going in, I informed my colleagues, stripping off my shirt and equipment. Somchai, try to keep the adults calm if possible. Lisa, prepare medical supplies. The calf will likely need immediate attention for hypothermia and exhaustion. Both protested, outlining the obvious risks, drowning in the unpredictable mud, being crushed if the adults managed to cross, the calf itself panicking and injuring me with its surprising strength. All valid concerns I acknowledged but couldn't prioritize above the imminent death of the baby elephant. There's no time, I insisted. Just be ready. I entered the water cautiously, testing each step before committing my weight. The muddy bottom dropped away quickly, forcing me to swim through cloudy water. Reaching the edge of the pit where the calf was trapped, I found myself in chest-deep water, my feet sinking into several inches of mud with each attempt to find solid footing. The calf's reaction to my approach was immediate, a renewed burst of panic trumpeting and thrashing that sent waves across the small depression. This in turn triggered increased agitation among the adult elephants, their deep rumbles carrying across the water. "It's okay, little one," I said softly, knowing the words meant nothing but hoping my tone might help. "I'm here to help you." Years of experience with elephants had taught me they respond to human emotions, particularly fear and calm. I focused on controlling my breathing, projecting as much tranquility as possible while slowly circling to approach from behind the calf's head where it couldn't see me and might feel less threatened. When I reached the calf, the situation became clearer. It wasn't just trapped in mud, one of its legs appeared caught in submerged tree roots or debris. Each struggling attempt to free itself only embedded it deeper. Its small trunk, barely a foot long at this age, wavered above the water as it fought to breathe. I would need to dive under to free the leg, a dangerous proposition in mud that could just as easily trap me. There was no time to hesitate. Taking a deep breath, I submerged myself in the opaque water, feeling blindly along the calf's leg until I located the obstruction, a tangle of woody vines wrapped around its ankle. My lungs burning, I worked frantically to loosen the natural snare. The calf kicked repeatedly, nearly striking my head several times. After what felt like minutes but was likely only 40 seconds, I surfaced for air, gasping as my head cleared the water. The adult elephants had grown increasingly vocal, their trumpeting echoing across the flooded valley. Through water-blurred vision, I could see the matriarch testing the channel separating us, clearly contemplating an attempt to cross despite the danger. "Hurry, Reiji," Somchai called from his position. "They're getting ready to come over." Taking another deep breath, I plunged beneath the surface again. This time I managed to unwrap enough of the vines to create slack. With a final effort, I pulled the ensnared leg free. The calf immediately kicked powerfully, catching my shoulder in a blow that sent pain radiating down my arm. When I surfaced again, the situation had shifted. The calf was no longer trapped, but too exhausted to navigate the deep water and mud surrounding the pit. Without intervention, it would still drown within minutes. There was only one option. I positioned myself behind the calf, wrapped my arms around its body just behind its front legs, and attempted to lift. The weight was staggering, even a 4-month-old Asian elephant calf weighs approximately 250 pounds. In water, with mud providing no stable footing, it felt impossible. Yet failure meant death for this baby. Summoning strength I didn't know I possessed, I managed to lift the calf's head and chest higher above the water. It responded with renewed energy, its legs paddling in an instinctive swimming motion. "That's it, little one," I encouraged, adjusting my grip to support more of its weight. "Just a little farther." What followed was an excruciating journey through chest-deep water and clinging mud. Every step required maximum effort, the calf's weight threatening to pull us both under with each movement. My muscles screamed in protest, but the sound of the adult elephant's increasingly frantic calls provided motivation that transcended physical limitations. Halfway to the adult's position, I realized we had a new problem. The channel separating the calf from its family was flowing too rapidly for safe crossing, especially with an exhausted baby. I needed to find another approach. I altered course toward a slightly longer route where a fallen tree partially bridged the channel. If I could get the calf that far, it might be able to cross with minimal assistance. By the time we reached this crossing point, I was nearing complete exhaustion. My arms trembled uncontrollably from supporting the calf's weight, and my legs felt leaden. The calf, too, was reaching its limits, its breathing labored, movements increasingly uncoordinated. "Almost there," I gasped, though I wasn't sure if I was encouraging the elephant or myself. The matriarch had spotted us and was making her way toward the same crossing point from the opposite side, her massive form moving with surprising speed despite the difficult terrain. Behind her, the rest of the family followed in a tight formation, their collective focus entirely on the struggling calf. What happened next would challenge everything I thought I understood about these magnificent animals, and ultimately change the course of my life and work. As I helped the calf navigate the final yards to safety, I was about to witness something that would be documented in scientific journals and wildlife conservation circles worldwide. Something that defied conventional understanding of elephant behavior and cognition.